Even as festivities loom, Nepali traders are worried over the closure of the northern transits at Raswagadi and Tatopani. The traders back home were supposed to receive the goods they had imported for the upcoming Dasai festival. However, with the closing of the border by China citing rising COVID infection, the traders and consumers alike might have a matching plight as they had in the last 2 years amid corona restrictions. Good morning, I'm Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. The Election Commission demands nearly 11 billion rupees for the upcoming elections. Commission says election materials to be purchased once the Finance Ministry approves the budget. 19 of the 53 domestic airports constructed at a huge expense remain non-functional. The authority misses the mark on upgradation even as forwarding plans for 5 additional airports. Pakistan police launch an investigation into the ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan. Imran accused of making threats against the police and judiciary following a political speech. And Caroline Garcia tames Petra Kvitova in straight sets to claim the Cincinnati Open title to become the first qualifier to win a WTA Tour 1000 tournament. The Election Commission has demanded the government an election budget of nearly 11 billion rupees for the upcoming November 20 elections. The Commission proposed the budget yesterday and has sent it to the Finance Ministry for approval. The Election Commission has demanded over 10 billion 989 million rupees for the upcoming provincial and parliamentary elections. The Commission has demanded the most 6,029 million rupees for the management of the Commission's office, election centres and for human resource. Meanwhile, 20.4 million rupees has been demanded for the cost of managing political parties. Likewise, 2,032 million rupees has been sought for purchasing election materials and 110.5 million rupees for monitoring and cost for maintaining foreign relations. Meanwhile, 550 million rupees has been requested for voter list and for the operation of the elections and 632.4 million rupees for the management of information and technology. The Election Commission has also demanded 699.3 million rupees for election education information and trainings, 894.8 million rupees for administrative expenses and 20.5 million rupees for observation and reports. Spokesperson for the Election Commission, Shaligram Sharma Paudel, informed that election materials will be purchased and election works will be expedited as soon as the Finance Ministry approves the election budget. Likewise, the Election Commission has approved the Human Resource Management Directive 2079. It has been estimated that human resource of around 200,000 will be needed for the upcoming elections. Out of 53 domestic airports in Nepal, only 34 are operating regular flights, while 19 other airports constructed at a huge expense have remained non-functional. The Civil Aviation Authority has allocated budget for feasibility study of additional 5 airports. The government seems inclined towards increasing the number of domestic airports while remaining indifferent towards their improvement. Out of 53 airports in the country, flights are not operated in 19 airports, including Rukum, Darchula, Rolpa, Manang, Mahendranagar, among other domestic airports. Argakhachi Airport, meanwhile, is under construction. The Civil Aviation Authority has set aside 60 million rupees for the feasibility study of additional 5 airports. The trend of increasing the number of airports does not end here, as proposals have been made to construct domestic airports in Kavre, Gulmi, Dang, Thankuta, Solukhumbu, among other districts. The government has remained indifferent towards the indiscriminate construction of airports in the interest of a certain group with the help of political reach. Within a few months since its operation began, the airport in Sukilumba of Ilam was halted. Tara Air halted trips to the region after 12 flights citing commercial setback. Balewa Airport in Baglung is yet to come into operation 30 years after its construction. The runway was blacktopped 6 months ago at an expense of 70 billion rupees. However, construction of other infrastructures required to operate regular flights has remained elusive. Suketar Airport in Taplejung operated its first flight after 2 months on Saturday. The airport was constructed in a year 2055 of Nepali calendar with a view to increase religious tourists visiting Pathibhara temple. However, the airport was not been profitable for the travelers as the operation of flights is uncertain due to the weather condition. The number of domestic airports have been increasing amid lack of infrastructures required for their operation. The concerned authorities is emphasis on upgrading the airport and development of infrastructures and technology is imperative. Rising COVID infections in recent time has alarmed tourism entrepreneurs who are already struggling to recover from the losses endured during the peak COVID period during the 2 years period in 2020 and 2021. Even as the situation was slowly normalizing, China has closed the transits with Nepal at Tatopani and Raswagadi for the past 2 weeks. Nepal has not received European visitors since the Russia-Ukraine war that caused the European economic fallout. United States has alarmed its citizens to take adequate measures while traveling to Nepal, considering the rising number of coronavirus cases. Transit points at the Nepal-China border have been closed for the past 2 weeks, citing corona infection as the Shigatse region in Tibet remains under strict lockdown. All these reasons are a major source of concern for tourism entrepreneurs. The tourism sector currently has a 3% contribution to the country's gross domestic product. The government intends to raise it to 10%, however, works have been sluggish. Nepal had hosted 1.1 million visitors in the fiscal year 2074-75 and 800,000 in 2075-76. However, visitors had shrunk to 68,000 in fiscal year 2076-77 in the face of the COVID pandemic. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: what should be done to increase entrepreneurships and minimize imports? Your options are A, priority to businesses with new ideas, B, investment in production-oriented industries, and C, investment-friendly policy. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the general public what should be done to ensure regular operation of airports at rural regions of the country. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
सरकारले मेन पहल गर्नुपर्छ
संघीय संघले नै गर्नुपर्छ
राज्यलाई दबाब दिएर यो तयार गर्न जबसम्म सक्दैनौं आवाज पुग्दैन सम्बन्धित तबसम्म चाहिँ सञ्चालनमा आउँदैन
संघीय सरकारले त्यसलाई सुचारू गर्नुपर्छ
प्रदेशले पनि त्यसमा पहल गरिदिनु पर्यो
यसमा चाहिँ भूमिका निर्वाह चाहिँ सरकारबाट हुनुपर्छ
मेयरहरुले अनि यहाँ भएको वडा अध्यक्षहरूले गर्नुपर्छ
40-45 सालका पुरानो प्लेनहरु हुन्छ सर त्यसलाई नयाँ ल्याउनु पर्यो नयाँ संरचना गरेर
सरकारले लगानीकर्तालाई उत्साहित अनि कर्मचारीलाई प्रोत्साहित गर्नुपर्छ
योजना बनाउँदा कार्यक्रम लागू हुने गरी बनाए मात्र दुर्गम र अन्य ठाउँको विमानस्थलहरू सुचारू रूपले सञ्चालनमा आउन सक्छ
सरकारले भाडाको उचित व्यवस्थापन गरिदिनु पर्यो
सरकारले जिम्मा लिएर नियमित उडान तालिका बनाएर
जुन एयरपोर्ट हो त्यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ बत्ती नियमित जडान गर्ने
राज्य संयन्त्र सरकार र सरकारवाला निकायहरूले नै विशेष पहल कदमी लिनुपर्छ
लगानीकर्ता र चाहिँ व्यवस्थापन पक्षले उचित व्यवस्थापन गरेर त्यहाँ चाहिँ नियमित रूपमा सञ्चालन गर्नुपर्छ
Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. The Election Commission demands nearly 11 billion rupees for the upcoming elections. Commission says election materials to be purchased once the Finance Ministry approves the budget. 19 of the 53 domestic airports constructed at a huge expense remain non-functional. The authority misses the mark on upgradation even as forwarding plans for 5 additional airports. Pakistan police launch an investigation into the ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan. Imran accused of making threats against the police and judiciary following a political speech. And Caroline Garcia tames Petra Kvitova in straight sets to claim the Cincinnati Open title to become the first qualifier to win a WTA Tour 1000 tournament. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good day.